Well, it's been a tough start to the season for the Western Bulldogs, but star midfielder Adam Cooney has been good enough to join us for a chat about where things are at with the club. Adam, thanks for making yourself available.
No worries.
You've lost your first 3 games, but are there positive signs amid all that?
Yeah, there is, especially the first 2 weeks. I think we showed a lot of positive signs. We played 2 pretty good teams in West Coast and Adelaide, and I think we matched it for I suppose 3 quarters with West Coast and nearly beat Adelaide. So there were certainly some positive signs. On the weekend we took a little bit of a step back, but we addressed those issues yesterday in the meeting. We looked at a lot of edits about what we did wrong, and some of our setups weren't great. So we've certainly got a lot to work on this week.
It was an interesting game last week, wasn't it? Because you had a lot of inside 50s, but you just couldn't hit the scoreboard. How frustrating was that?
Yeah, it was pretty frustrating. The midfielders, probably ball use wasn't great going into the forward line. I think the forwards probably need to hold their structure a little bit more. So there's some small things that we need to tinker with. But as I said, we looked at that yesterday and looking to atone to that this weekend.
And you face a really big clash this week against Melbourne. 2 new coaches, both teams yet to win a game. Pretty important, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a massive game, and we know the stakes are high this weekend. Obviously both clubs are desperate for a win, and certainly we're going to be doing our best to get the 4 points this week.
You're a club that's been really successful in probably the past 5 or 6 years, but to start like this, I suppose a few of the boys are looking a little bit frustrated. I'm thinking of Brian Lake in particular. Is there a sense of frustration among the senior core?
I think there was on the weekend. Prior to that, I think we've played pretty well in patches. I think it's just a matter of getting everything right. I think once we get everything right with our setups and the game plan cracking in the way that we want to play, the way that Mac wants us to play, once it all comes together, I think we're going to have some really good patches in games and play some really good consistent footy.
And you're renowned as a bit of a character and jokester around the club, from what I can tell. Do you take it as part of your role to try and keep morale up and make sure everyone's having a bit of fun?
I think, yeah, there needs to be a certain amount of fun in a footy club. Having said that, after a bad loss, it's sort of hard to get yourself motivated again. Usually after Monday is when you stop your sooking about the weekend, and then Tuesday onwards, everyone's usually pretty positive and just looking forward to the weekend. And great day. The great thing about footy is you get another chance this week to have a crack at it again.
And just before we leave last weekend alone, can you just tell us about your flat tyre situation that you had after the game?
Yeah, well, it was probably my fault actually. I think I cut a little bit of a corner and I think hit a curb on the way home from Etihad, so it was a pretty horrendous way to end a pretty bad day.
Looking to the future, which of the young players have impressed you the most in the first 3 games?
I think Dowhouse has probably been the standout. Obviously had a massive year last year coming in as a rookie and just obviously worked really hard over the summer, and he's impressed. Liam Jones is going to be a great player. We just need to help him. We need some forwards around him to give him a little bit of a chop out at times, but he's certainly a great contested mark. There's some younger guys coming through. Clay Smith's another one who had a great start to the year, and he's only 18 years old, so he's going to be a great player for our club as well.
And how have you been getting on with the new coach, Brendan McCartney?
Yeah, very well. We've sat down a few times, had a lot of good frank discussions. He's very honest in how he sees his players, and he has a good relationship with most of the guys that he's built up, so he's a great educator.
What's he brought to the club that's different to the way Rodney Eade used to go about things?
I think they're 2 sort of completely different people. He's very calm and obviously well publicised that Rodney can get a little bit fired up at times, so they're contrasting personalities, but both great coaches.
Looking at where the club sits just on the ladder at the minute, and you're starting to blood a lot of young players, is it fair to say it's now you're heading into a rebuilding phase?
I wouldn't like to use the word rebuilding. We've still got a good mix of experienced guys and young guys, so it's just up to the leaders and the experienced guys to help those young guys out and develop them to become great players, I suppose, as quick as they can.
So is it a matter of balancing the development needs versus trying to win enough games to get into the 8 every year?
Yeah, it is, and plus the education of having a new game plan, and everyone's basically had to learn new positions and new structures, and that's going to take time. We're not going to get that right in the first sort of 3 weeks to a month. It's going to take a long time. So.
Yeah, as you say, I suppose you see that reflected a little bit on the scoreboard, don't you, that you're going through quite a big transition in terms of the way you play under the new coach.
Yeah, and like I said, we have times where we play really well under the new game style and the new structure, and there's times that we've gone away from that, and that's when we, I suppose, have been beaten. So it's just a matter of getting that consistency in our game.
You've spoken a lot in the past about how your sort of chronic knee problem has impacted your sort of explosiveness and ability to be a 100% midfielder like you were. Where's your body at right now?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I think my explosiveness is back to nearly where it was. So speed-wise, I'm feeling pretty good. It's just a matter of getting that match fitness up. I haven't been able to train probably as much as I would have liked to in the pre-season, but having said that, I've done a lot more work than this time last year. So I'm certainly in a better position than I was this time last year.
Looking back or comparing to 2008, 2009, 2010 to where you are now, how much time do you spend in the midfield and on the ball compared to what you would have back then?
I think I'm building up. The first couple of weeks I was probably a little bit more up forward. Against Adelaide, started to work a little bit more through the midfield, and then on the weekend I was probably 70% in the midfield. So I'm certainly building up that fitness to become sort of mainly a more midfield player.
And how close to that 08 form do you think you can get, given the ongoing nature of the knee issue?
Well, it's going to be pretty hard to get back to Brownlow winning forms. There's not many people win 2 Brownlows, so if I can just get back to run and carry, helping the team out and playing my role, I think I'll be pretty happy with that, and certainly so will the team. And
others outside the club have spoken about the potential for you to be an almost permanent forward down the track a couple of years. Is that something that might happen, do you think?
Maybe a few years down the track. I'd like to think that I've still got a few more good years left in the midfield first before that happens, though.
And just looking towards this weekend, Melbourne, they do still have a good young midfield group. How important is it for guys like yourself to really stand up and make sure the Dogs get on the board this weekend? Yeah, obviously it's really important. Max speaks a lot about the leaders of the club, and we're the ones that the young guys look to in times like this, and it starts with us in the midfield, getting inside and winning that contested ball. So hopefully we can do that and get a win, yeah. Excellent. Well, thanks for joining us, Adam, and good luck on the weekend. Terrific, thank you. Cheers.